In this lecture, we're going to talk about fine art and photography. First off, let's define art. What is art? Would you define art as something that is like a landscape or a bowl of fruit? Or could a canvas with just a big red square on it actually be a piece of art? We're going to talk about that in our discussions this week as well. For over the centuries, art has changed, and there would be no way that we could talk about the history of art in this one lecture. As it is, this is probably one of the longer lectures just because of all that I need to cover. So we're just going to kind of scratch the surface, but I do want to really talk about the difference between modern art and traditional art. In the Industrial Revolution, as you know, everything was changing. Automobiles, factories, all this stuff that was going on around us was just pushing us into a whole new world. And with, automobiles and aircraft and spacecraft and all of that, the world wasn't as small as it used to be. It used to be, you went, 30 minutes just to get down to the grocery store and, by horse and buggy. And now the world, you can get on a train and actually go across the country, in a week or so. So being able to do that, it opened the world up to more possibilities. And, get on an airplane, you could actually go to a different country. So now there's so much more. The world is a bigger place. So it is really starting to affect the art around us. Also, it just started to filter into the humanities because with this new expansion, minds were being opened, people were processing different, and it just really did break how we do art. So first off, what is modern art? Basically, it's a break from traditional art, but the big part of it was it became about the artist rather than the art piece. Traditional art was always about the piece itself, and modern artists were more about how they felt. But before we can really get into what is modern art, we probably need to define what is traditional art. So traditional artists, they separated themselves from the piece. The focal point was clear, and the most important thing was the painting itself. It was static, it was fixed, it was predictable. You always knew where the focal point was. It was always realistic, so you could tell what it is that you were looking at first glance. The object was usually something tangible to your eye, and so that was traditional art. Modern art was actually, like I said, more about the artist, and so it became about the mind's eye, often abstract, surreal, not typically something that you could always pick out at first glance. You may have a concept, but you most likely would not know exactly what they were trying to portray. The modern artists, they did what they felt, and rather than worrying about what you could see, they worried about what they could see. In the past, art always had a determined focal point. And so when you looked at a canvas, you would look directly in the middle, and then you would have to force your eye away from that focal point. If you were to look at Da Vinci's Last Supper, you've probably seen that painting. If not, look it up in your textbook. If you looked at it, you could always see Jesus right in the center. That's where the focal point was, and it was done on purpose. It was forcing you to look right there. Now, if you were to look at a Matisse painting, or let's go with the dinner table, and I'll try to get an example for you so that you can see that. If you look at the dinner table, what you'll see is your eyes just goes around the entire painting. There's no determined focal point. You don't even know where to look. It forces you to look around the entire thing and take the canvas as a whole rather than just a simple, place on the canvas. And so it's really important that you understand the difference. And so when you look at a painting, you can usually tell the difference between modern art and traditional art. If we were to look at the different, like a fruit bowl from David D. Heim, you would see that the lighting of the painting draws your eyes to the center of the fruit because it's a traditional painting. Everything points to the focal point, and you pull your eyes away to be able to take in the rest of the painting. But if you were to look at a Baroque fruit bowl, it's surreal. You might not even know it's a fruit bowl, and you have to really you kind of take in the whole entire painting, not knowing determine like where you should look. And the same would be true of looking at traditional landscapes versus the modern landscapes. They're all the same. Now, one of the things we're going to discuss is the red square. It's a white canvas with a red square, and it's a little bit off. If you look at it, it's a little bit off, not completely square. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to give you the answer right now whether this is art or not, because it is going to be one of your discussions. But I want you to really take a moment to figure out what is going on in this painting. Is it just a big red square that has no value or meaning? Or is there more going on than meets the eye? And after the week of discussion goes on, if you guys have not figured it out yet, I will go ahead and weigh in and let you know exactly what is going on here. But I encourage you to not just automatically dismiss it because it looks like a big red square on a white canvas that, you know, your little kindergarten, you know, friend could paint. I guarantee there's more to it, all right? So just remember to ask yourself, what is art? And know that art really is in the eye of the beholder. There is no wrong or right answer here. And so if you just kind of go with an open mind, you're more likely to enjoy the piece. God bless and have a great week.